Good.
All right, now we are live in EXP Family Tree. And hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Monday Mindset Market Update Motivation. And this is a 20-minute-ish call that Angie Gerber, Nikki Erickson, who's not with us today, and myself post every Monday to start your week off correct. It's open for anybody with any brokerage, any level of production. If you just want to start your week out, know what's going on in the market, know what's going on in the world of real estate, this is the place that you can do it. And you can do it from your phone. You can do it from your computer. You can listen and live stream if you're an EXP Family Tree, of course. Also, Angie records these and puts these out on her YouTube channel. So just search her up on YouTube if you want to watch some of the past ones. But, we do this so that you have talking points to start your week out so that you can go talk to your prospects, your clients, your database, your social media following. You can know what's going on in the market and you can get your mindset in the right place. So today, Angie's going to be kind of giving some information on behalf of Nikki Erickson about the market. So she's going to go ahead and do that. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we are talking to agents about and our clients about when it comes to the NAR settlement. That'll just be a little bit of information for you, as well as some more details on a call tomorrow that you're going to want to be on. And then Angie will wrap it up with some mindset stuff. And we'll get you in and out of here within about 20 minutes. So Angie, what do you got on the market?
Wonderful. So Nikki says, and I'm just reading off a text, she said, update for the week. The Fed rate remained unchanged last week, which was expected. Since the announcement, interest rates have settled down and are now dipping down into the mid to low sixes on a 30-year conventional rate. We do expect this to remain steady for the week. So tune in next week to see what the forecast will be moving forward. But for this week, we think it's going to stay right where it's at and what Nikki mentioned. And then topic, she said, topic for the street topic on closing date. She just wants to put out a friendly reminder to all agents that even though it may seem obvious to all of us on the call, make sure you check with your lender when you're trying to move up or change a closing date. She goes on to say, oftentimes they're the last to know. And then a lot of rushing has to happen, a lot of trying to accommodate things, the sellers, the buyers, the CD, all the things. So she just said there's so many other vendors that provide services for the mortgage file that they can't control as a lender all the time. So they're normally the ones taking to title as well. So to accommodate a change may be difficult. And you need to coordinate it with your closer. So she's just asking if you can reach out before you reach out to the sellers or title, reach out to the lender first and foremost. I'm going to say that again. Reach out to the lender before your sellers, before title, or if your sellers have said something, you'll always want to go to the lender first because it would be ideal because it gives them enough time to make it happen. We would absolutely, she says, love to always close early and accommodate anything we can accommodate to make it a great process for all people involved. They just need to have a heads up. It will also help alleviate a lot of stress that it can create if it's done in the proper order. So pretty much don't forget your lenders when you're trying to move stuff around on a file.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
So if you've got people that have been looking, you just got to keep on those rates this week. We know what it is. We don't know what will happen after this week, but we know what it is this week. So are there any properties that maybe they've looked at, but interest rates were a little too high? Go back to the lender and say, what is their payment now? Has it made a big difference? What's their approval in this week with these rates? Can we go back to that property? You've got to kind of be proactive doing these things and bringing these things forth to your clients. That's what they pay us for, is for us to think of these ideas, be creative, go talk to the lender, come back with information. Yes, they have to make their own decision, but we've got to give them information and we've got to do that extra work. So that's great.
Yeah, absolutely.
So everybody, Angie's been talking about the NAR settlement. There's tons of, I think, misinformation more than anything out there. I see a lot of reaction versus proactivity, which is usually what happens. And that's okay. But my advice to all of you as realtors is, number one, just go be the best version of yourself as a realtor and a human being. Go out there and educate your clients, your database, your sphere, and your social media following. Don't come from a place of reaction. Come from a place of proactivity. When I see people out there all of a sudden reacting to this and having to try to prove their value it kind of makes me cringe a little bit because we shouldn't have to prove our value. We've been doing this in this industry for many, many years. Back in the 1990s, a lot of people don't know this, we didn't even have buyer's agents. We only had listing agents. And because buyers started realizing they didn't want to work directly with listing agents, they didn't feel comfortable going to the person representing the seller. There was something called sub-agents that came from that. Sub-agents were these agents that helped the buyers kind of in a sub, in a way to sub away from or to sub for the listing agent, so that the listing agent didn't have to be the person communicating with both buyer and seller. How many of you, and this is a hypothetical question you don't have to answer, but how many of you as a listing agent love to have buyers come directly to you? Now, we do sometimes love that from a dual agency perspective. I get it. But if it happened every day in every single one of your listings, I don't think many of you would like it. It creates a lot of risk, it creates a lot of liability, and it creates a lot of work. As a listing agent, one of the benefits is that we don't have to go and show the house to a bazillion buyers and then negotiate with a whole bunch of people and do double the work. That doesn't help us as listing agents be a strong listing agent to our seller. That distracts us. It takes us away from our focus, which is trying to get the property sold and marketed. And it also creates more liability. Now, if buyers are going to come directly to sellers and listing agents, there's going to be a much greater probability, in my personal opinion, that buyers are going to start to want to become sue happy. Why? Because they're going to realize that they weren't represented. No one was looking out in their best interest. And so all of a sudden, they're going to start getting mad when something goes wrong with the property. And that's just what happens when humans don't have their own fiduciary that's representing them. And there's a history in our industry that shows that buyers didn't like that, sellers didn't like that. And that's how buyers agents after the 1990s came out of the sub-agency. So now we're like going backwards, and that's okay, because I think when any of these lawsuits happen, we, go reactive. We say, okay, we'll solve a problem, but we don't realize that we're creating a whole bunch of other problems possibly, right? So that's what's happening. So now we get to be proactive, and we get to say, number one, you guys have to realize the only thing that the NAR settlement says is that you are not putting the compensation out on the MLS anymore. Okay, so we have to find other ways in which we communicate with each other. Well, I think that we can do that. We can figure that out. And here at EXP, we've already got forms that most of our states are helping us with. But the reality is that you need to be going out on social media instead of defending yourself, saying, look, our commission has always been negotiable. That's why there's a spot that you have to fill in the contract. It's not typed in. So commissions have always been negotiable. So just because now we don't have to put those out on the MLS, somehow we believe that that has changed. Nothing has changed. And the last piece I'll tell you that I think might help you think differently about this is, if you are a listing agent, one of the things about negotiating your commission is you need to make sure that you're negotiating enough commission to be able to market that property out to as many buyers as possible for your seller. That's what they're hiring you to do. Part of your marketing is marketing that property to buyers agents who are representing buyers who are ready, willing, and able and approved to purchase a property. So right now, as it sits today, still over 75 to 80% of buyers are represented by a realtor. Even if that changes because of the lawsuit, let's just pretend that changes and only 50% of buyers work with an agent. That is still 50% of a buyer pool that the seller is going to eliminate should they not want you to pay a buyer's agent, which is simply just a marketing tool. If they wanted you to put a billboard out there about their property because they've got this, luxury property, it might cost $1,000 or $2,000. That's a marketing that they're paying you, that you go and do for them on behalf of them. Marketing their property to buyer's agents is a marketing technique, but they have to pay for it because it's not free. So if we want to get the most money in the least amount of time with the least amount of hassle, which is what every seller wants, we should open that up to every single buyer, and it should be through social media, the internet, open houses, and to buyers agents who are representing ready and willing and able and approved buyers. And that's going to cost something, like it always has. And when you're selling the most expensive thing for most people that you own, you realize that it's going to cost you a little bit of money to make sure that you are going to have an experience that isn't going to cost you a lot more later. So we just have to come and be very confident, but realize your commission has always been negotiable. You go in there strong, you're still you're still negotiating 6 or even 5.5 or 5%. You choose what to do when it comes to paying the buyer's agent. But if you're a good listing agent, you're going to know that it's going to be important for you to share that, because at least, let's just even be very conservative, at least 50% of the buyers out there are going to be represented by your colleagues. So I think this is going to bring some unity amongst our industry. I think it's going to raise people up into a new level. I think we're going to have to be stronger negotiators, more confident, bring a lot more value, know what we're doing. We can't go out there just willy-nilly representing people without doing work anymore. We have to be good, which means we need to invest in training. We need to invest in our own knowledge, education, our cooperation with our fellow agents. We have to be experts, and it's going to level us up in our industry. So for that, I'm very grateful. And I really don't think it's going to change a lot with the average consumer. There's going to be people that try to save money, but they're going to learn quickly that by trying to save money might mean that they spend more money later. And we're going to have those things that happen. And then things are going to, shake out like they always do. But the advice I'm giving you today is just be proactive. Go out there and educate. Hey, you might have heard this. I wanted to debunk the myths out there. Don't read the headlines. As you know, the headlines are always there to create scarcity and fear and all of those things. We all know that we should read the headlines with a grain of salt. It's the same thing right now with the NAR settlement. And so if you wait for people to come to you, making their own assumptions, and then you react to it, it's going to be a lot less pleasant than if you go out to your database right now, become educated, and tell them what's going on so they know what to expect. We're the local experts of choice. We should be educating our clients. So with that, tomorrow at 12:15 Eastern, 11:15 Central, that'd be 9:15 Pacific if you're in my time zone. John Dietz and I are going to be on my Zoom link, and for 45 minutes, and we're going to go over scripting. What do you say when a buyer asks you about commission? What do you say when a seller says they don't want to pay the buyer's commission? What are some of the things you're saying to the consumer, to your database, to your sphere of influence? And we're going to go over that with you so that you can feel super confident, super educated, and you can go educate people. Remember, we're only valuable if there are problems for us to solve. This is a great problem for us to solve, a great thing for us to go educate people on, and then we become more valuable. And so join tomorrow if you can. If you can't, reach out to me and we'll send you the recording. This is just going to be, for the people that we know, doesn't matter what industry, what brokerage in the industry come. There'll be about 100 people that can show up on the Zoom. So the first 100 will get in, the others will have to just message us and we'll send them a recording. So I'll put that in the link below. Any additional thoughts that you have on that, Angie, or anything that you've been hearing differently?
Yeah. And just to pigtail on what you said, it truly is. And if you think about, someone asked me this weekend, how accurate is a Zillow estimate? And I was just like, so how do you respond? And think about Zillow and what they do and why they keep things looking available when it's pending or even closed. They do it to get subscribers. They do it to get people to fill out. Well, that's what all these headlines are. They're clickbait. They want the CNN article, the other articles. They want the people to click on it, gather it, and just become part of their ecosystem. So think of it that way. And if you can educate people that come to you on that, I think first and foremost, Carrie, I 100% agree. This is going to elevate us. This is your opportunity to shine. This is your opportunity to educate. This is your opportunity to show up and show your value. And that's first and foremost by being educated, by understanding, by knowing what to say, how to respond, what the objections are, and learn from people like Carrie and John Dietz, who have been in the industry for years and have done hundreds and hundreds and helped hundreds and hundreds of agents, thousands, do this at a high level. So now is the time. Now is the time to commit. And I know when I was watching one of the trainings, just watching the comments from agents, from fellow agents, I was like, oh, you know what? It's okay if we read out some wow. Like, seriously, you are a business owner. This is your business. This is how you show up. You owe this to your clients and your fiduciary duties. So show up. as a business owner and look at the past. I remember when Open Door came on
Yeah.
board, everyone was like, you know, it was going to blow everything up. It was merely a speed bump. I was like, dun, dun, okay,
Yeah.
business as usual. I'm not saying that as this, but think of all the disruptors and all the things that have happened. I mean, Carrie, you could
Yeah.
go back your 20 some plus years.
Yeah.
This is not the last. This is another blip, another bump, another thing in the industry that's going to change. And you know what? There's going to be something else. And then there's going to be something else. And there's going to be something else. So figure out how you respond versus react. Because if you continue to react and if you continue to not show up in the best light and show up neutral, looking for neutrality so that you can actually find the real information and not react like half of everyone's doing right now, then shame on you, honestly. You're a business owner, and this is this is going to be forever changing. So think of this as
Always.
one of the
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that we need to be professional, confident, and we do have a service that is very valuable. And if you don't get that already, then that might be the main problem that you face. Truly. So get on these calls and maybe reassess your value. Maybe you weren't taught that. Maybe you don't realize how valuable you are. If you're committed, like Angie says, then you need to get on these calls so you can understand what that value is. Talk to people who've been doing this for years and they can show you how they've literally added value and helped people throughout the years with home ownership goals, and how they've helped them in lawsuits, and how they've helped them in challenges, and how they've become creative and they've helped their family achieve their goals. These are things that the average person doesn't know how to do on their own. And they wouldn't achieve those things without a real estate professional. So stand firm in your value, be around people that are firm in their value, go to trainings, become more confident, and be proactive and be ultra professional and just raise the standard of our industry. I think our industry's standard is going to go up and people are going to start thinking of us in even a better way. And that is a huge thing, because ever since I've been in this industry, you know, people have compared us to car salespeople, right? I've heard this my whole career for 24 years. I've had to negotiate my commission based on that belief system that some people have my whole life. That isn't changing today. It's just in how we're doing it and how we're expressing it. So the other thing I would encourage you guys, if you have not seen Zenlist yet, which is a new EXP exclusives database and platform for off-market properties, you need to go sign up for Zenlist. Go into Workplace, and up in the top where you can search, type in Zenlist, Zenlist. There is an entire Workplace group. Join the group. And there's a link and you can sign up and you can start putting properties in Zenlist. So this is another tool in your toolbox for sellers. If they say, I'm not sure, I want to go out there and open it up to everybody and pay every buyer's agent. Okay, why don't we put it out there to our 90,000 agents across the globe and see if anybody has a buyer, and we can negotiate at that time with our own agents. But you don't have to put it out there in the whole, in the whole world wide web if you don't want to. There are people that for a lot of reasons might not want it to go on the MLS. And quite frankly, if the MLS doesn't allow us to put the compensation anymore, there's a lot of question about if the MLSs are even going to be valuable anymore. So we'll see. But this is a huge opportunity for EXP. Get involved now, it's early, but if we're all on that, sharing our properties before we even list them, maybe giving it a grace period of 2 or 3 weeks, and maybe, sure, we'll take a little bit less seller and we'll pay our colleague and we'll do it this way, but we'll do it internally and you don't even have to worry about putting it out there. But if you don't get what you're looking for, then we need to open it up to all of the agents out there. So there's going to be some really cool things, and EXP has been on the forefront of this. If you didn't see the email from Leo Pareja, there's a whole buyer representation toolkit that's available to you that they have put their all hands on deck. Within less than a week, they got this out to us. The recording from Monday is there. There are social media graphics on how to educate the consumer. There's buyer listing presentations, talking points. This is amazing. So go take a look at that and educate yourself. And then if you guys can join John and I tomorrow, please do. Otherwise, message me and I'll send you the recording.
I love it. Yes. So much to come and so many unanswered questions. You need to continue to be educated throughout this whole process. That's our responsibility. Absolutely.
And remember, it's not even in effect until July, you guys.
So there's
So
plenty
we
to-
don't need to make any hasty decisions. We just need to be educating and preparing ourselves until then. And
Yep.
that's what we're here to help you. I think we're at one of the best companies who literally was on it. On Saturday, our founder, Glenn Sanford, was on his Instagram talking to us on the day that the announcement was made. If you don't follow Glenn Sanford on Instagram, I'd encourage you to do that. Go look him up, or on Facebook. But I know on Instagram is where he actually went live.
Mhm.
And he shared some great points. He's been in the industry for many, many years and came from a really great perspective. That was on Saturday. And by Monday, we had the call where 50,000 of our agents joined watching Leo Pareja live. And I think all the rest of the almost 100,000 have watched it since. The recording is there for you. And then within a week, they have this whole toolkit for you. And every single broker in each state has been doing training since the announcement and giving forms and ideas. And in Minnesota, Michelle came and sat with you guys last week in person, which was amazing. So for those of you that think that you can't be engaged and aren't getting the support in a virtual brokerage by your brokers, that's totally not true. And so we're very fortunate for those of you that are here with us. If you are in a brokerage where you aren't getting answers or support, you haven't even heard anything, that would be troubling to me. Doesn't mean you have to come to EXP. Go somewhere where people are talking about this, or at least come on our calls that are open to anybody so that you can stay in the know. That's our hope for you, right, Ange?
Absolutely, 100%.
All right, you guys. So tomorrow, hopefully you guys will be able to come on 12:15 Eastern. If not, message me and I'll send you the recording. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.